Hey guys, Cornucopia of Craziness back here again with another Raw review. This week is probably the saddest week in wrestling for me because one of my favorite wrestlers, probably my favorite wrestler of all time up to this point, Daniel Bryan, sadly announced his retirement this week on Raw. Very, very sad thing to hear about. That's my dog again, ignore her. If you want to see my reaction to his retirement, click the link in the description down below and watch that video before you watch this one. I recommend that. Anyway, but if you already seen the video, you're obviously here now today, and I'm going to give my thoughts on what was good and what was bad about Raw. And I will give my further thoughts on the Daniel Bryan retirement speech, so let's go. Now, the reason why I might have the best thoughts about Raw this week is because of the Daniel Bryan speech. I didn't pay much attention to this week's Raw because I was so focused on Daniel Bryan's speech being a work, because I thought it was going to be a work. I thought it was going to be something where The Undertaker was going to come out and challenge him for the match at WrestleMania, and that was all that I was thinking about at the time, so there's only going to be like a few thoughts about this Raw this time. One thing I really did like about this week's Raw was the fact that they promoted more of Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. I like how they're inching out Dean Ambrose more with this character. They're making him more like a Stone Cold type character who doesn't give a crap about how big Brock Lesnar is. He still wants to challenge him. So I do like that. It's really a good development of Dean Ambrose's character. Like, he doesn't give a crap. And I like how Roman Reigns, like, I'm not necessarily saying that I hate Roman Reigns, but I just like how Roman Reigns is being more the third wheel here, because, like, you might say all the crap you want about how this match is not going to be good, about how it's going to be predictable, but I like what they're doing here because they're making it more unpredictable as to what is going to happen during the match. Is Dean Ambrose going to hit a big move on Brock Lesnar? Is Brock Lesnar going to injure Dean Ambrose? Is somebody going to turn heel? We don't know that. So, I think it's a good build-up between Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar. One thing I do have to say, though, is that even though Dolph Ziggler versus Kevin Owens has been good for the past 2 weeks, it's kind of got to stop now. Unless they want to build like a really good feud out of this, they ought to stop doing the matches on Raw, because eventually it's going to get tiring and it's going to get old. So, yeah, I think they should stop it now, even though they do have good matches and good chemistry, but it's getting kind of old now. And one thing I gotta say about the tag team division is I don't know what they're doing with the Dudley Boys at this point, because the Dudley Boys, they challenged the Usos to do a tables match with them against New Day. Of course they accept. The New Day has a special guest partner, which turned out to be Mark Henry. I don't understand the point of Mark Henry anymore, because that's the problem with Mark Henry, is that he's underused and he's not used well. Mark Henry is not used well up to this point. He was just like how he was put into the Elimination Chamber match last year for the Intercontinental title because Rusev was injured. So they decided to book him in that match at the last minute, when they should have put Rusev in that match. Rusev would have made a much better choice. Mark Henry just stood around and just did nothing during the entire match while Dolph Ziggler had to carry the match. So I think that Mark Henry is being misused up to this point. We don't know whether he's face or whether he's a heel. He's like WWE's current Big Show. He's even worse than the Big Show, in fact. So Mark Henry's being misused. Anyway, to take off the tangent of Mark Henry, the Usos win the match. Mark Henry, of course, he turns on New Day because we don't know which side he's on. So the Usos win against New Day in the tables match when the Dudley Boys put, I don't know which member of the New Day through the table. And the Usos celebrate, the whole Big Brother thing with his brother, the Usos, and with the Dudley Boys. But then all of a sudden, the Dudley Boys just turn on him out of nowhere. And I think this could go one of two ways. One, it could be a really good heel turn, which turns the Dudley Boys into badasses, where they're attacking everybody backstage and just being the cool heel group. Or it could just go to complete trash and they just become really, really boring, just like they kind of have been in their face run. So it can go either way. I would prefer them to become more the badass heels, where they just beat up everybody and put everybody through tables, make statements out to everybody in the tag team division, like, hey, we're here for the tag team titles. We're gonna not stop until you're hurt, and we can get those titles from you. So I think that is going to be really, really cool to see, and I predict that it's going to be a good heel turn. But what was strange about the heel turn, though, was that it just came out of nowhere. I mean, they won the match, so I don't really understand why they turned him heel, but let's just wait and see how good it is, because if it's a good heel turn, then I don't mind it at all. Anyway, now let's get to the last thing that I'm going to talk about. There wasn't really anything bad with this Raw. It was just a Raw until Daniel Bryan came out. Now, what I think about this retirement speech is, obviously it's a very, very sad thing to see Daniel Bryan go out. To see Daniel Bryan go when he's so young, 34 years old to be exact. And I think he's had a good career. He did have a good career. Like, he put on some of the best matches that I've ever seen in a very, very long time. He made some of the worst guys on the roster look good. He made Batista look good. I'm not saying Randy Orton is bad, but he made him look good. He made everybody in the ring with him look good. He made Kane look good, for God's sakes. And Kane has been on the downward spiral for a very, very long time now. He made Roman Reigns look good at Fastlane, even though the crowd didn't really respond to it that much. He made Roman Reigns look good, even though the crowd pretty much hated Roman Reigns. He makes bad things good, is what I'm saying here. Because Daniel Bryan can do that. Daniel Bryan is a great wrestler, or was a great wrestler. He was a great wrestler. He was great with the crowd because the crowd loved him, for God's sakes. They were doing the yes chants at every single event, even when he wasn't there, even when it was just Brie Bella in the middle of the ring, because they know she's married to Daniel Bryan. They started doing the yes chants even when he wasn't there, because you know why? Because Daniel Bryan is over. He's over with the crowd. He's over with the guys in the back. But the only person he's not over with, and I'm speculating as to why he retired, is Vince. Vince is probably the one person that does not like the concept of Daniel Bryan, at least in my opinion. I could be wrong here, but Vince is well documented as to liking huge guys, like big guys, like Braun Strowman or Roman Reigns or I don't know, Kane, or some really, really big guys. He likes the big guys in the division. He likes the big guys holding the belts because they are tough. They're huge. He puts the title on guys like Triple H or Roman Reigns or John Cena. John Cena, like the big guys like him. But when a guy like Daniel Bryan comes along and he breaks those huge barriers, you could think that Vince doesn't like that. He doesn't like the break in his formula. So that's another thing I like about Daniel Bryan, is that he broke barriers in the wrestling industry. He made it cool for guys like Sami Zayn and Finn Balor and Kevin Owens to come into the industry and make the best out of what they could do. He gave them that opportunity. Triple H made NXT possibly because of small guys like Daniel Bryan. Some of my favorite wrestlers are small guys. Yeah, some of my favorite wrestlers are small guys. Like, I like Chris Jericho. His promo work might not be the best right now, but he was really good as a heel back in 2008. I like Shawn Michaels a little bit. Shawn Michaels was pretty cool with his... He always put on a good match as a small wrestler. I liked Shawn Michaels. I like... Adrian Neville's okay. He's that standard high-flying wrestler. Like, he's okay. I liked him. Kalisto, he's getting his big push now that John Cena's out. And John Cena... Excuse me, guys. Sorry about this. Sorry you had to hear that. That was my dog barking. Anyway, I like how Kalisto is making that rise to the United States title. And you could say it's because John Cena's out and he can't challenge Alberto Del Rio for it. But, you know what? It's cool. I kind of like Kalisto, even though he has weird booking. But Daniel Bryan made it cool for small guys to be around. And that's another thing I like about Daniel Bryan. But you gotta think, though, was this really for his health? And in my personal opinion, and based on the facts that he said on ESPN, that Daniel Bryan himself said on ESPN, and how he talked to the WWE Universe on Monday Night Raw, the fact is that these health issues and all these concussion issues that kind of ruined his career, they could possibly be real. He could possibly be having effects of concussions, and we just don't know it yet. The IWC might not know that he actually has these concussion-like symptoms, and he might actually have effects of it. I know I repeat myself like a million times, but still. The IWC, they may think, oh, it's because Vince doesn't like to push small guys, but there might have actually been a legitimate health issue here. And if he needs to leave because he doesn't want to risk himself getting more injured than he already is, then, well, so be it. Good for him. Because I'm happy that he didn't turn out like guys like Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit, if you don't know already, he was a wrestler back in the early 2000s that came in from WCW, who did a lot of moves that involved him smashing his head on the mat against other wrestlers, like the diving headbutt. And over the years, he developed concussion-like symptoms. He had brain issues. So the brain issues are a possible reason why he killed his family and himself. So I'm happy that Daniel Bryan left the WWE. He left wrestling so he doesn't become another Chris Benoit. Yeah. WWE's probably going to hate me for saying the name Chris Benoit and mentioning Chris Benoit, but oh well. Anyway, that's my reactions to Raw. Not much there, but it's just my few little thoughts about the tag team division, Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, and Daniel Bryan. And, oh, by the way, just before I leave, I mentioned earlier how I wanted Daniel Bryan to face The Undertaker. And that's because The Undertaker does not have an opponent right now, a set opponent. But there are rumors, and I would be pissed if WWE actually did this. I would be pissed if they had The Undertaker face Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman, he hasn't even been in the company for a year. Not even a year. And his finisher is not even that good. It's just oh, I'm going to hold you like this for 30 seconds and I expect you to tap out. That's not a good finisher. And from what I've seen, he hasn't wrestled enough matches for him to qualify as an opponent for The Undertaker. In my personal opinion, I think that his opponent in WrestleMania, if he even wrestles at the event, we don't even know if he's going to wrestle now because they have a lack of opponents and they have no roster at this point. I think that his opponent at WrestleMania should either be Kevin Owens or a heel Chris Jericho. Or, heck, even if AJ Styles doesn't have a feud, they should put AJ Styles against Undertaker. AJ Styles has plenty of experience. He's been in the indie scene. He's been in the indie scene for, since 1999. So, I would think that they could have AJ Styles versus Undertaker at WrestleMania. And that would be really, really cool to see. WWE, book that right now. Book it, or I'll be mad. No. You can book whatever you want. Just as long as it's not Braun Strowman versus Undertaker. Because Braun Strowman is not enough an experienced wrestler to do that sort of thing. Anyway, that's my thoughts on everything. See you guys later. There will be more videos this week. I know I've been posting a lot of videos lately. I've been happy that I've been getting the feedback that I've been getting. I've been getting the views that I'm getting. And two 2 people commented on my last video saying that I'm an good and upcoming YouTuber, and I appreciate that. I appreciate positive feedback from you guys, because it helps me grow and become a better YouTuber than I was before. So I thank you for that. Anyway, I know I've said that like a million times now. Let's just end the video. Like and subscribe if you like this. There'll be another Raw review next week. More videos will come, and peace.